the breakup of the United Kingdom.
Immigration has indeed tumbled. And now that European citizens who've lived here for years are struggling to get settled status, the number of EU immigrants could drop even further. We did it! What did we do, Nish?
It?
That's right! We did it!
No kidding here. The British colonized half the world. They ruled a total of 65 nations. It's been centuries. Their empires have crumbled, but their colonial mindset has not. Let me tell you why we say this.
We did it!
But is it a good thing?
It doesn't matter if it's good, Nish. It's done. We did it. We've won. We've won like we won the war.
The United Kingdom has introduced a new scheme, a scheme to send asylum seekers to Rwanda. A scheme Britain's Home Secretary has proudly described as a world first.
Ain't lying to you, I'm just common sense. And what is the process? It's common sense, yeah. It's common sense, yeah.
Critics, however, describe it as inhumane and evil.
Except instead of the foreigners shooting at us, they were growing our food, enriching our cultural life and lancing our nan's boils. And all we had to do was make the UK seem like an undesirable place to live by making it an undesirable place to live.
Britain's Home Secretary travelled to Rwanda's capital. She met the country's foreign minister and signed a new agreement on migration. A pact to provide immigrants a one-way ticket to Rwanda. Here's how it will work. The UK asylum seekers will be packed onto the next ship or flight and sent to Rwanda, a country located 4,000 miles away in Central Africa.
So, this is my very British guide to reducing immigration where you live. First things first, tank the pound. There is nothing European economic migrants hate more than earning money which is worth way less. How worthless is the pound? Well, put it this way, I was in France this summer and I got slapped in a bureau de change.
Once there, the fate of these migrants, whether they get to stay or leave, will be decided under Rwandan laws and by the Rwandan government. And even if the migrants win asylum, they will only be able to stay in Rwanda for just 5 years, post which they will have to find shelter elsewhere.
If immigrants don't like it, Nish, they can blooming well go and live and work in another European country. That's one of the great things about being a member of the EU.
Speaking about this scheme, the British Home Secretary called it the world's first such plan, which will make the immigration system fairer. You must listen to this.
And today, our approach as two outward-looking countries has led to the signing of a new international partnership, which is a world first. It is a migration and economic development partnership with the country of Rwanda and the UK.
Bloody good system, actually. Next thing, create a bitterly divided society.
Working together, the United Kingdom and Rwanda will help make the immigration system fairer, ensure that people are safe and enjoy new opportunities to flourish. We have agreed that people who enter the UK illegally will be considered for relocation to Rwanda to have their asylum claims decided.
The Prime Minister of the UK is also quite excited about this deal. Delivering an address in Kent, Boris Johnson called it an innovative approach which will disrupt the business model of smugglers.
Not many people want to live in a country where everyone hates each other, which is why creating a really nasty atmosphere is this season's must-have if you want to scare off those dreadful foreign doctors who keep us all alive.
Listen in.
So from today, our new migration and economic development partnership will mean that anyone entering the UK illegally, as well as those who have arrived illegally since January the 1st, may now be relocated to Rwanda. This innovative approach, driven by our shared humanitarian impulse and made possible by Brexit freedoms, will provide safe and legal routes for asylum while disrupting the business model of the gangs.
The first thing to consider is that the UK has no constitution, at least not in the sense of having a specific codified document. Certainly there are a loose collection of statutes, laws and precedents, that are claimed by constitutional experts to amount to a constitution, yet there is no written document.
Now here's the thing. The UK has every right to deport illegal immigrants.
You've all been there. You've got friends over, but you kind of want them to leave, so you do a tactical dump on the living room carpet. And hey presto, the sofa's your own again.
I do that by fighting against mosque construction, using the law to prevent them constructing their fortresses, and you should do the same.
Create entry requirements that rule out most people's jobs.
When the same person speaks in English, his or her chance in standing improve. Independent India has put the language of our colonizers on a pedestal. English is a socio-economic marker, the language you must know if you want to be successful.
Yes, Priti Patel wants to set the base level salary for migrant workers to over £36,000. So, Priti's automatically excluded the migrants we most need. For example, those in the care system, the NHS and agriculture. This is a classic political strategy known as punching yourself in the trousers.
So, without a written constitution, where exactly does sovereignty lie? Well, if the UK Constitution is claimed to be defined by its laws and statutes, then one would naturally assume that sovereignty would have been established by the laws and statutes published by Westminster.
But sending asylum seekers to one of the world's poorest countries with one of the worst records on human rights violations is simply cruel.
Yet when you search for the term sovereignty in the records of the National Archives, under the parameter all UK legislation, excluding originating from the EU, the only listed results relate to 3 acts from the pre-1707 Scottish Parliament.
From Britain's opposition to human rights groups, even the United Nations, everyone has condemned the scheme and called it inhumane. Keir Starmer, the Labour Party leader, has called the plan extortionate and unworkable. He says not only will it ruin the lives of asylum seekers, but will also cost British taxpayers billions of pounds.
The simple fact is this: there is no act of the Westminster Parliament relating to the matter of sovereignty, nor is there anything in the Treaty of Union or in the subsequent Acts of Union. Constitution experts will of course assert that sovereignty in the UK is not about laws or statutes or even the Constitution. They'll tell you that sovereignty is all about legal precedents and the notion that Westminster's parliamentary sovereignty holds sway.
Jeremy Corbyn, the former Labour leader, says the plan is shameful and beyond cruel. They have both described it as a political tool to distract the British citizens from the country's current political mess.
And indeed, if you search the records of the Supreme Court, the UK's highest court, there are numerous references and rulings with regard to sovereignty.
The UN Human Rights Council has also issued a statement. It says people fleeing persecution deserve compassion and empathy. They should not be traded like commodities. It has also warned the UK that such a deal will only magnify risks, causing refugees to seek alternatives and unsafe routes. A number of human rights activists have also spoken. They have drawn parallels between the UK's plan and a similar plan that was drawn out by Australia. They say such schemes only inflict huge amounts of cruelty on the migrants rather than rehabilitating them.
Exclude key workers, but allow bankers and advertising execs. What a utopia this Fair Isle will be. And sure, we can get by with a deficit of 11,000 doctors and 31,000 nurses, as long as no one gets ill or old. If you do insist on becoming ill or old, it will be seen as a sign that you don't believe in Britain, I'm afraid.
Well, I think it's a gravy train now at the moment, isn't it? Everyone wants to be over here.
Our national health is suffering.
Is there a big problem with immigration in this area?
No, I wouldn't say. No.
It's too cold for them. Yeah, so
Yeah,
we'll have to
people are
just wait and
frightened.
see.
Why are they frightened?
Well, they say that they pickpocket and they burgle. Are these people themselves have said, yeah, that's what they're coming to do?
No one wants to live in a country where they know their kids are going to be malnourished. So that's going to be another big win for a country looking to reduce immigration. Nothing as a nation says you're winning like rickets.
Well, I think we're getting too many people coming in, definitely. And I think a lot of the people now who are unemployed start to feel bitter about other people coming in and getting jobs. I know that for a fact. And I think there's a fear as well that, you know, they say one day England won't be English people here, it'll be all foreigners.
Therefore, in the eyes of the law, the UK Parliament simply acts as a sovereign body, and the precedence it sets in doing so makes it sovereign according to court rulings.